Hey kids, welcome back to Let's Play Morrowind on Rob's Red Hotspot. Last episode we walked from Sedanine to Balmora and we met this guy, Caius Cosades, who told us to speak to the Blades trainers. We are now a member of the Blades. So we're going to do that, but before we do that I want to talk a bit about mods. Last episode, the last couple episodes, had a pretty bad graphics stutter, and also those weird load times every time we move from one cell to the next. And that has to do with a couple of things. First of all, as I said, I'm using OpenMW, which doesn't really natively support distant terrain, which means that if you sort of don't make any changes to it, you just can't see very far. It kind of looks like vanilla Morrowind. There's this fog that sort of you can only see about 20 feet ahead of you or something. And so there is, however, a kind of workaround for that, which I've posted a link in the description of the video. Now, if you want to know how to use distant terrain in OpenMW. You essentially, it's not proper distant terrain, but it essentially just loads more of the terrain, which can really affect load times and graphics. So I have kind of scaled that back a little bit going forward, and hopefully that will reduce some of the load times and stutters that we've had in the last couple of episodes. I've also gotten rid of the grass. I'm not sure I like the grass to begin with. It's called Aussie's Grass mod, I think. I just got rid of that because it kind of, I think it kind of clashes with the landscape. Morrowind has a very sort of bleak landscape, and having this kind of furry grass all over the place sort of clashes. Also, this texture isn't the nicest one, but a lot of the ground textures that I have loaded are actually pretty nice, and it doesn't really make them any nicer by covering them with that grass. So I got rid of that. There was a problem with my herbalism mod. I noticed last episode that one of the com berries didn't have any berries on it, and so that mod's gone for now. I may replace it at some point, but for now it's gone. I noticed that mod requires a nightly build of OpenMW. OpenMW releases, they have stable releases every few months. And then they also have nightly builds, which have a lot of experimental features, but I don't use nightly builds, especially for this Let's Play, because there's usually something wrong. There's usually some kind of weird graphical glitch or problem, so for every feature that you open by using a nightly build, you're usually going to create other kind of unexpected things. Anyway, enough about that. Let's dive back in here. Uh, so... So we are going to go and talk to some of the Blades trainers. So we asked Caius for details about all these different blades, so we can see Hlena lives 2 houses south of Caius, upstairs. So I guess 2 houses south is here. And we will talk to Hlena. Hello,
Anytime,
Hlena.
friend. I'm right here.
Alright, welcome Nagos Hlena. Hlena is my name, warrior is my trade. I'd be happy to share a little advice or Morrowind lore with a fellow blade, or maybe you'd like to catch up on the latest rumors. Alright, well, we're going to get as much information out of these guys as we can. So, let's start by... Okay, well, this is the generic warrior thing, so I'm not going to read that. Little advice. Well, if you're considering a mercenary career, the Fighters Guild isn't too choosy. No, don't take offense. I just mean they're relaxed, easygoing, give along, get along. Legion is a lot tougher outfit. That's the Imperial Legion. And fussy about ends and means, if you follow me. And those House Redoran people, well, they are tough and sharp, but a bit tiresome in the duty and honor line. So this is some information about some of the factions we could join and maybe get some work at some point. Morrowind lore: recent Imperial colonies like Pelagiad look like the same homes and castles you see in Daggerfall or any other Western province. This is one of the most interesting things about Morrowind. For those of you who don't know a lot about Elder Scrolls lore, or this game in particular, Morrowind is the home of the Dunmer, or Dark Elves. Our character Hlena is a Dunmer. and it has been somewhat recently colonized by the Empire. And the Empire is the sort of human race, kind of Roman-inspired human race in Tamriel, the world of the Elder Scrolls. And so one of the running themes throughout this game is going to be this kind of imperial presence versus this kind of Dunmer local institutions. I think it's one of the most interesting themes in the game, and it's kind of a lot more subtle than in Skyrim, where you have the home of the Nords, and you have an imperial presence there too. I think it's a lot more subtle and nuanced in this game. In terms of there's a very complex kind of political thing going on in this world. Right, so we'll go with latest rumors, and Rithleen says, "I'm just a courier delivery boy." I feel like, are you a boy? I really can't tell. I'm not convinced. I don't know. I'm just a courier delivery boy, follows orders and get paid. I don't know nothing, and I'm perfectly happy that way. Alright, well that's not very interesting. Let's see if we can learn a little bit more about the blades. I'm a blade 2, and I report to Caius. Like you, you're welcome to use my bed to rest, but leave any other stuff alone. Of course, this is kind of a single bed, so if I use your bed, I don't know where you're going to sleep. But that's okay. Yes, we aren't trying to make a profit. Oh, Blades trainers, I asked. We aren't trying to make a profit off our fellow Blades, and as you rise in rank, your discount increases. Still, we have to live, and training isn't cheap. Well, basic skill training, if you don't know very much, can be pretty cheap, but advanced skill training, for example, in your major specialties, that can get expensive. Here, I don't use this cuirass and helm anymore. Maybe you can get a few drakes for it and put them in your personal training fund. Drakes, by the way, you'll notice in the interface, the currency is called GP, gold pieces, or gold. Drakes are the currency of the Empire. So it's kind of weird that they don't really reference that in the interface, but yeah, that's what drakes are. There are a couple other sort of currencies that appear in this game, but drakes are what we use for everyday transactions. Okay, so we've just got some freebies, which I'll look at in a second. Let's see what kind of training Rithleen offers. We only have 50 drakes, but so we can't really afford training right now. But it's just good to know, because we're a member of the Blades. This is the faction, a faction in the game. We're a member. We get cheaper training, especially as we get higher in ranks. So it may be useful to come back to some of these people later as we have more money. And we're higher ranks within that organization. Although I don't really see us using medium armor, to be honest. And I don't know if we're going to be using much we're going to be doing much blocking, but we might if we get a decent shield at some point, we might want to get some training in block. And so yeah, and then long blade, that could be useful as well. Anyway, well, thank you, Rithleen. I'm just going to look at your book here. The mirror. Yeah, this is a skill book. So there we go. Block skill increased to 6. I don't think I'm going to read books. There's lots of great books in Morrowind. I think there's a couple hundred probably with the stuff in Tamriel Rebuilt. There's probably hundreds of books, but I don't think I'm going to read them in this Let's Play, because I feel like people aren't going to want to sit through and read that, although maybe some of the books that are kind of more related to the main quest I'll read, or I'll post separate videos where I read a book, and so you can just sort of skip that video if you're not interested in reading the book. We'll see. Alright, so next blade trainer. Alright. Caius is one of the Blades under his command. Healer Tiarmailin lives 2 houses south from Caius' house, downstairs. Okay, so that's just downstairs here. And Tiarmailin is a healer, so that could be useful. And his house is very dark. Hello. Face me. Look at me. Look. Okay, no. There we go. Alright, welcome Novice Hlena. Tiarmailin is my name. Healer is my trade. Alright, so let's take a little advice from him. Outlanders, new in Vardenfell, do best in Balmora. House Lalu is Imperial through and through, and you get a good mix of native and Imperial people and services. not as friendly to Outlanders up north in House Redoran country or down in Big Vivek City, and definitely not friendly out east with the Telvanni wizards. Shop the outfitters, then check out the guilds for work. If you want to be adopted by a great house, you'll need a patron, and that's easier when you've got a reputation. Yeah, so this is we're getting a little bit more into the lore and the setting and the political landscape of Vardenfell, which is the region of Morrowind that the main quest of this game takes place in. Let's hear about these Outlanders. We've been hearing this word thrown around. So an Outlander is anyone born and raised outside of Morrowind. Most Dunmer think that anyone who isn't a native-born Dunmer is an Outlander. Dunmer with Western words and ways are also immediately identified as Outlanders. Dunmer are very sensitive to accents, clothes, and manners in Morrowind. Outlanders are foreigners, and Morrowind doesn't like foreigners. It's not bad here in Hlaalu territory, but on the rest of Vardenfell, folk are very cool to Outlanders. Cool, I think, in the sense not warm and fuzzy. And so we are an Outlander. We are a Dunmer, which means that our ancestors come from Morrowind and maybe even Vardenfell. We don't know, but we are an Outlander because we have spent our, I guess, childhood and early life mostly in an Imperial prison in Cyrodiil. Cyrodiil is the province where the Imperials come from. So all the people in this game world can tell that we're not from here, and so they're gonna treat us accordingly. What happens if we click foreigners? Yeah, this is very similar. Most native Dunmer don't like foreigners. The Dunmer are proud people and they look down on other races and cultures. They particularly dislike Outland Dunmer, dark elves born and raised to Imperial ways, who don't know what it is to be a Dunmer born and bred. So that's us. So they're going to like us almost even less. And foreigners can be accepted in Morrowind, even adopted into the great houses. There's even a Nord on the House Hlaalu Council, but it isn't easy. It takes time and effort to win a native's trust. This is kind of modeled in the game to some degree. You can see here this is what Tiermelin thinks of us. Now, because we're a blade, we get a pretty high score with him in terms of his disposition. We're in his faction. But if we meet people in the world, our kind of situation and what factions we're a member of will affect how they treat us and what they say to us and what information they're willing to give us. So yeah, that's kind of one of the interesting things, because this is something, for example, that doesn't really exist in Skyrim. They really kind of streamlined it in Skyrim. It doesn't really matter what race you play. Everyone kind of treats you pretty similarly. Every once in a while, you kind of have to pass a check for your speechcraft skill, and that's it. Like there's very little of that in Skyrim. So that I think is one of the most interesting things about this game. Let's see here. Where were we? Little advice. Yeah, we got our advice. Morrowind lore. Ashlanders are nomadic barbarians living in camps of small portable huts. Well, that's we'll learn more about Ashlanders later, I think. Latest rumors. I'm just support here. I don't pay much attention to what's going on. So you are almost as useless in terms of rumors as Rithleen. All right. If we click Blades Trainers, let's see. Basic skill training is cheap. Yeah. So this is the same thing. However, to get you started, here's my old Alembic. Maybe you can get a few gold for it or use it yourself. So we've got a Journeyman's Alembic. That's alchemy equipment. So that we probably won't sell that. We'll probably keep it. So that's very useful. If we look here, we've got this very heavy armor that we'll probably sell, and we've also got, there it is, the Journeyman's Alembic. So we're getting a little bit of loot here that we can sell or use, and that will give us a little bit of a head start in terms of having some equipment and having some money. So where are we here? Kaya says that to reach Hunter Nine Toes, one of the blades under Kaya's command, leave Kaya's doors. Okay, this is, so anyway, that's our next stop. There are 3 blades trainers in Balmora, and I think we're gonna at least start with going to those 3, and then we'll see if we can get kind of travel ready and go and visit the others. So this is Nine Toes' place. Nine Toes is an Argonian lizard people. All right. Nine Toes is my name, Hunter is my trade. I'd be happy to share a little advice or Morrowind lore with a fellow blade, or maybe you'd like to catch up on latest rumors. Right. Okay. We don't need to hear about the trades. So Nine Toes is also a hunter, a fellow hunter. I'd be happy to share a little advice. Okay. The easiest way to get started is to join a guild, do their jobs, earn your way up the ranks, get the discounts, training. Yeah, so just more stuff about the guilds. The guild takes an interest in you, doesn't send you in over your head. The Fighters Guild and Legion anyway. The Mages Guild is another story. Some old chair polisher doesn't have a clue what he's sending you into, doesn't much care. So we're getting a little bit of info about what the Blades know about the various guilds in the world. We'll learn lots more about that soon. Morrowind lore. The blight is weather caused by the big volcano, Red Mountain. So yeah, that's another thing we're going to learn more about soon. The blight was something that we have to avoid. Nine Toes. Nine Toes is trying to update maps of the Bitter Coasts. There are no good maps of this area. Period. Islands, mountains, swamps, lakes, river. It's impossible. I'm getting to know the swamps and waterways here, maybe as well as the natives. But I can't blend with the natives, and I'm useless in West Gash or the Ashlands, and I don't see why the maps are so important. Smuggling maybe, but I'm wondering if they're thinking about landing or moving legions through here in case of trouble. Alright, that's his role in the Blades. That's just a little bit of flavor, honestly. And let's see if he has anything fun for us. Alright, lots of stuff. Training again. If you're already skilled, you're much harder to teach. Maybe I can help you out. Okay, here's a little moon sugar on the house. You do know that trade in moon sugar and skooma is against the law, and most alchemists and apothecaries won't buy it, but Khajiit generally will. Try Ajira at the Balmora Mages Guild, or Revere, the trader in Balmora. Sell the sugar, start saving for training. So, Nine Toes is a clever little guy, and he has given us some illegal drugs to sell, which is hilarious. Like most Bethesda games, there are drugs in Morrowind. You can take them, and they have various effects, some of which are positive and some of which are negative. They also, I believe in this game you can also get addicted to them. And if we carry this around, we probably won't be able to talk to other merchants. They won't talk to us if they think we're a drug dealer, basically. So we're gonna have to get rid of this before we do anything else. But yeah, that's pretty hilarious. Nine Toes is a hilarious guy. I think there's a book in here too. Yeah, let's take a look at this book. Alright, Athletics Skill 21. You'll notice that when I hover over this, you see the crosshair is red. That's a setting in OpenMW. I'm not sure if it's in, I don't think it's in Vanilla Morrowind, and it might be in other mods as well, but it's basically telling us not that this is owned by someone, that if we take it, it will be considered stealing. So we don't want to grab things like all this is owned by Nine Toes. We don't want to be like rifling through his stuff and taking it, or he might actually call the cops on us, or the Imperial, or the Halalu guards. But that's very useful, because in Vanilla Morrowind, if you just sort of started looting things, you could very easily get yourself basically wanted or thrown in jail by accident, just by touching things by mistake. So we're allowed to read people's books, but we shouldn't put them into our inventory, or we will get in trouble. I realized that I didn't check out what kind of training. Wait, this is Rithlene. I didn't check out training for Tirmalin, so I just want to see what kind of training they offer. Oh, see, he won't even talk to us because we have that moon sugar in our inventory. I'm just going to put that on the floor. That's a bit of a silly, cheesy way to do things, but just to save time here. Okay, so Tirmalin can give us training in enchant, mysticism, and restoration. So the mysticism might be useful. Actually, either of them might be useful in the near future. Where did that moon sugar go? Oh my god. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, so the mysticism might be useful, and I should also take a quick look at what Nine Toes offers. Always forgetting to do this. It's good. It's good to sort of get a sense of
It wants
who offers training.
What does it ask?
He does athletics, illusion, and sneak. Illusion, we will definitely need some illusion training because, and it might have been a good idea to take this as a minor skill because one of the illusion spells that we're going to need is Night Eye, which allows us to see in the dark, and that will reduce our reliance on torches and candles and things like that. But we don't have money for that, so we're going to have to just we're just gonna have to wait for the time being. Let's go sell stuff because we've got all this gear now. I think I'm gonna put. I think I'm gonna store our alchemy. Like this weighs 7, which is a pretty big chunk of our carry capacity. I think that Oliver here is gonna carry our alchemy gear, and for the time being, anyway. Maybe until we have a more permanent housing arrangement where we can store it. But let's go over to the kind of commercial district of Balmora here. I think this is running smoother. I think the frame rate is better, and we're not getting quite as much of that crazy load stutter. And we still have a fairly good distant view. I'm happy with it anyway. I might increase it. I might play around with that a bit more, especially if we get to parts of the game that really benefit from it. Alright, we were told that we could sell this, offload this moon sugar to Revere, the trader. Revere is a Khajiit, the cat people. They're rather silly looking cat people in this game. And the Khajiit often buy drugs. They're often smugglers and drug dealers, and you know, he runs this kind of pawn shop here, so we can get rid of this illegal. Let's try and barter a bit just for kicks. I'm just going to barter that up by 1. Every time we barter, every time we actually try and negotiate the price, it does increase our barter skills. So as I said when I made the character, I'm not sure how much of that we'll be doing, but for the time being, we'll do a little bit of that, see if we can get some better prices. Awesome. Well, is there anything else we want to sell to him? I don't think so. And I don't really want to buy anything until we have a sense of, like, we're up to 134 gold, but I kind of want to sell off some other stuff. We also have this armor we need to sell. Oh, that Flynn. That Flynn, that's what we took from the Census and Excise office. It does fortify strength, which is very useful, but I'm not sure whether we want to use Flynn to fortify strength because it's very valuable, so we might want to sell that. Rather than use it.
My time is short, so
alright, Meldor, this is the armor. Alright, I'm not going to read this. Let's get rid of this heavy armor because we're not going to use it, and it's very, very heavy to be trucking that around. Right, and that's going to give us, oh, see, he didn't like us there. That's going to give us, here we go, 210 gold total. So we don't really have anything else to sell for the time being. Well, there's that Guar hide, which it fortifies endurance, but we don't need that. I don't think we're going to need that anyway. So maybe we can find an alchemist. These are guilds. That's a bookstore. Could be fun to go in there. Maybe I will go in there soon.
You may speak.
And we've got a couple other shops in Balmora. That, I believe, that's a weapons store. So let's do some selling before we do some buying, though. And yeah. So here's an alchemist. This banner means alchemist. So I'm assuming that Hlena can more or less read the script on those banners and kind of navigate that way. No. Where am I going here?
You may speak.
Ah, here we are.
Can we
Curia of Whitehaven, who's a bit of a snob. Alright. She's an Altmer high elf, by the way, and so she's also not from She's also an outlander. You can buy my Guar hide. Guar hides are even though they're hunting hides and they're presumably used to make all sorts of things in this world, they are alchemy ingredients as well. Is there anything else here that we might want to get rid of? I don't think so. I do want to get a sense though of how expensive this alchemy gear is and what they have. We have an alembic. We're gonna want a calcinator and a mortar and pestle. I don't know that we can afford all this stuff though right now. They're very expensive. I would kind of like to get a journeyman set retort as well. We need, so that's 80. Yeah, it's going to cost us like 400 just to get the mortar and pestle, so I don't even think it's worth buying any of this right now. We can just start to maybe make a little collection of alchemy ingredients, and once we have something to work with, and we presumably have some money, we can get set up to actually do some alchemy. But yeah, no, that's not on for now, I don't think. Alright. But I do think we should maybe think about getting a better weapon. Maybe we'll go visit some of those blaze trainers, kind of walk around the world and oh, well, maybe we'll go to that weapon store. Where is it again? Oh, over there. Maybe we'll do that before we...
What is this about?
Alright, so Thorek, what do you sell? Let's see here. I could get a better sword. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. I think we'll stick with the bow that we have for now, but maybe a short sword of some description. We can look. We see the stats of the weapons when we hover over them. So, and I have it set up. There's chop, slash, and thrust for swords, for all weapons. I guess melee weapons, and I have the game set up to just automatically use the best type of attack for the weapon that we're using. This is actually kind of a vestige of older Elder Scrolls games, where you moved the mouse in certain ways to kind of hack and slash in different ways. But I think they figured that it wasn't that interesting. Anyway, I don't know that I like what he has for short blades, to be honest. Let's see here. Imperial short blades. It's kind of it could be useful. I don't want to be using this dagger. This dagger, yeah, maximum 5 damage. Iron short sword, maximum 11. The Imperial one is maximum 10. Yeah, maybe the iron short sword. The Imperial one is like more expensive and not as good. Okay, maybe we'll grab an iron short sword and we'll trade in our iron dagger for now. Wait, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is let's see if we can negotiate that down 1. There we go. And then let's sell him that little dagger. It's not really worth anything. Okay, and then I need to... This is something I need to remember to do, otherwise we'll be in the middle of combat with my hotkeys, so that I can pull out that sword and yeah, so that I don't like get attacked and then have nothing to defend myself with. I think the most important thing now is going to be armor. We need to... We can't walk around. We just can't be walking around without some protection. So yeah, let's go back to... Oh, here he is. Melder the armorer. And let's see what he has to sell. I would like to get the chitin armor. It's pretty much the best light armor we can get until much later in the game. I don't know if we can afford a full set. We have 194 gold. So let's see here. Maybe I can sell this Flynn. And so we need the boots, the cuirass, the helm. Maybe I'll get the mask helm. It's kind of cool. The helm. We need a right gauntlet and a left gauntlet. We need a left pauldron and a right pauldron. I think that's it. I think that covers our whole... Oh no, we need greaves. Greaves. Okay, 175, so we can just afford to buy... I think this is a full set. I don't think we're missing anything. Morrowind is... let's negotiate that down for sure. At least a couple golds. Thank you. Give me a discount for buying the whole set. Morrowind is interesting as compared to other Elder Scrolls games in that it has all of these... Like in Skyrim, if I put armor on, I'm not wearing a shirt anymore. Like the armor kind of has a shirt tacked onto it. Morrowind, you can wear like a full set of clothing under a full set of armor, and it's got all these very detailed pieces of armor that kind of cover your whole body, and that's interesting, especially if you get into like enchanting. You can like wear enchanted clothing under your armor. We can also wear this robe over our armor, but that's kind of ugly, especially with these pauldrons sticking out. So I think the robe, we're going to carry it in our inventory because it's going to kind of be our raincoat, so to speak. But I'm not going to wear it over top of the armor because it looks insane. We could also put the helm on. Let's take a look at what that looks like. But I feel like this helm is, again, kind of an implement weather kind of thing. I don't think... let's go outside so we can actually see what we look like here. I don't think I want to be walking around in town with a helmet on. I feel like, you know, we want to show our face to some degree, so and we may just kind of only wear the helmet when we feel like we actually need it. That means that, you know, we could get hit in the face with something which would hurt us a lot. But you know, maybe that's just a risk we're gonna take. All right, but we're definitely in much better shape in terms of not dying, not being killed. I'm just gonna go back to Revere here, and I'm gonna sell off our shoes because we are wearing boots. We don't wear boots and shoes at the same time, and I'm gonna sell off this Flynn and see if he can give us a better deal. Yep, good. Let's just take a look at how that's actually affecting our... yeah, so we're very slowly working up this skill. I probably will work on it, and it will just very slowly increase. So there we go. We have our full equipment, and I feel like we are ready to go on a bit of a walk into the worlds, and maybe visit the next Blades trainer. Where did we leave? Where did we leave our Guar? Ugh. Oh, I guess I brought it into town, didn't I? Anyway, if I can't find the Guar, I will find it off screen and off video, and we'll deal with that after. But I think I feel like I left it maybe over at Caius's house or something. Let's see. This is probably going to be somewhat of a running theme here. Oh, there we are. Yeah, great. Because I remember leaving it out of town, but maybe I actually brought it into town at some point. Yeah, we can do a couple things here too with this this handy Pat Guar companion mod. We can see here it's at 100% health. It has 150 health, and we can feed it. We can feed it Kwama eggs. And I believe rat meat, if we give it rat meat is one of the most useless things in the game. There'll be lots of rats and lots of rat meat, but not much of a use for it. It's just kind of like really bad meat that you would never eat. And but this guy can eat it, and I believe it cures him if he gets poisoned. So it's actually going to be kind of important for him to have that in his inventory. Yeah, and then these commands here, I thought I'd go into more detail. We can follow outdoors only will prevent him from following us into a shop. I don't use that. I usually just tell him to stay, because what happens is we go into like a store or a dungeon or something, and then we come out and he's like right there in front of the door. So I generally tell him to stay. We can also tell him to wander. Wander is useful. He'll just wander a bit, like he's not going to wander way off, but he'll sort of walk around like that. He won't leave. He'll sort of stay stay in this general area without leaving. That's really good because sometimes these NPCs wander around, and sometimes you'll get things happening like they'll just be walking against him like this, and kind of it's kind of really buggy, and some of the NPCs that are kind of supposed to walk around the world, if they get stuck there, it can sort of screw things up. So this is a pretty good companion mod in the sense that it has all these features, which I didn't make. I mean that came with the mod that I used to kind of create this guy. He also, I believe, he is set up so that he will, if we get too far away from him, like if he gets stuck on a rock, he will teleport behind us. So he shouldn't get like permanently stuck, you know, a mile behind us. If we get too far ahead because he's glitching out on something, he'll teleport, which I think is useful. Right. On that note, let's check out what our next blade trainer is. We can go and see Serene Leorian in Caldera, the next town north. So I think we're going to start that journey. I'm going to have to start putting a timer as I make these videos because I have no idea how long this video is going to be. But I will start this, and in case it gets too long, worst case I'll just cut the video in half, and that'll be that. But let's at least walk to Caldera. Yeah, I don't think it's not very far. Again, I need to pay attention to our fatigue here. Not be running like a maniac. What time is it? It's 1 p.m. So we should definitely be in Caldera by nightfall. We already looked at Creshweed and all that. Okay, let's see. Let's get this guy to stay and see if we can do a little bit of hunting now that we have, you know, rudimentary protection. So I should be able to, yeah, so now I can sneak. I can't really sneak very well with the Guar right behind us, so let's see if we can kill this guy. Oh, we didn't hit him. Yeah, if we don't hit him when we shoot, we don't get the sneak attack. So. Oh yeah, this sword is doing lots more damage, and I don't even know, I think he hit us, but our armor really protected us, so. Hound meat is kind of heavy, but it does fortify fatigue, so we will be, that's useful for us to have early on. One of these, chokeweed, I think, does it help us? Restores fatigue as well, yeah, so that'll be good. Restore fatigue is going to be one of the most useful potions that we can make, because we can just kind of chug it as we walk, and it will prevent us from having low fatigue all the time. We can also use it in the middle of a battle. Potions are really good to be used in the middle of a battle. So yeah. We have a healing spell, although as we saw last episode, we're just not good enough at magic. I could also try and kill that dude. These scribs are not hostile, but they can be a bit nasty because they can paralyze you. So, oh, we killed it one hit because we got the sneak attack. Good. And he didn't give us any goodies. That's okay. Alright, so road to Caldera. Caldera. Hopefully we'll make it there in one piece. But I feel much more confident now that we have this full set of chitin armor. Chitin, I believe this armor is made from like insect shells. It comes from Morrowind, so it's kind of a light armor that's pretty solid. Some of the other light armors are just really not. We're getting athletics increase there. Some of the other light armors are really just not very good, and also not very nice to look at. I want all the chokeweed, or what is this? Yeah, chokeweed. I want all of it. You'll notice that I have not. I haven't got like like normally a lot of time with Morrowind you really want to install an alchemy mod. where when you just hit the action button beside plants, it picks them automatically, like in Skyrim and stuff like that. I will work on getting one of those because I know it's tedious to open these and sort of look at what they have and take them. But yeah, I will work on that. The one that I had before was just not compatible, and it was causing. Oh, there's a. Can you stay here? I'd rather you not join this fight. Part of the reason I don't want the Guar to fight with us all the time is that if I hit the Guar will start attacking us. And I think I'll probably learn a spell, or maybe even kind of craft an item. No rat meat. Well, I guess we'll have to live without rat meat for now. I'll maybe craft a spell that stops him from being hostile. But I want to be a bit careful about Oliver. If we accidentally stab Oliver, Oliver might try and kill us, and that would suck because then we'd have to kill Oliver. And we like him. He's gonna carry so much stuff. Give me some more chokeweed. How much do I have? Oh, that's enough for now. Alright, here we are in the town of Caldera. Let's go see Surain Lioran, or however you pronounce her name. And yeah, we'll that'll be one more Blades trainer off of our list. I think she is in which house? I think she's in that house. You can also start maybe talking to some random characters, getting the lay of the land. Yeah, don't come inside with us. If the Guar comes inside, it will follow us inside, and if it does, there's just no, it's too big. There's no space for Oliver inside buildings. All right. Hello, Surain. Your house is very poorly lit. But a lot of houses are going to kind of be a bit poorly lit because of the mod I use that darkens the game, and it's a bit silly, but you know what? I think it's worth it. I know some of these interiors are unreasonably dark because they don't have windows. But I think that's just going to have to be one of the quirks of the game. All right. So she's a mage. Take some advice. Caldera is a quiet, law-abiding town. Not much call for adventurers or mercenaries here. A good place to shop for equipment and look for a trainer, though. Awesome. Well, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll look around and meet some of the locals. More lore about Ashlanders. That's not useful. Let's see what she has to offer us. All right. So she can train us. And yeah, and may I suggest you find someone to teach you the detect enchantment spell. Whenever you're exploring, it's good to know where enchanted items are. Sometimes that's where dangerous enemies are holding the enchanted items, and sometimes that shows items hidden from view in deep pools or on high ledges. See Laros Uvain, the Nightblade, at the Caldera Governor's Hall. Well, I think we'll go talk to Laros Uvain, although I don't think that spell is actually very useful, to be honest. It's sort of useful, but I don't really need it. But yeah, let's see what she offers for training: mysticism, restoration, and destruction. All right, well, that might be useful at some point. And we'll go up to the Caldera Governor's Hall, which is that building.
Hello,
and
citizen.
We will get a sense of what spells this this character has to offer. Maybe a little bit more advice. And I think after that we'll just start talking to some generic NPCs around Caldera. Now that Hlena's getting a little bit more
What is this about?
more comfortable. Yeah, very dark in here as well. All right. So Laros Uvain says, this is Caldera, home of the Caldera Mining Company. Caldera is all about business, and business is good. So what can I do for you? Well, I heard that you had useful spells for me. So what do we got here? We've got Scrying Eye, which is not that useful. Demoralize. These are mostly illusion spells. Looks like there's some mysticism spells too. Yeah, we do have decent mysticism, but detect enchantments. It just makes things appear on the map, basically, or the map in the this view here. Like if we're inside, it will make things like it makes a little icon appear if there's an enchanted item. And it's kind of cool. It's a cool idea, but I'm just not going to use it. What else do we have? Medusa's Gaze, Shadow Weave, Shadow Mask. Some of these illusion ones might be useful in the long run, but I don't think we can cast any of them. We're not good enough. Soul Trap, we might get into that at some point. Telekinesis, maybe not so much. Yep, neat. Also, Detect Key would do the same thing as Detect Enchantment. It would show if there's a key hidden in the room, it will show an icon on the map as to where you can look for it. So it's kind of cool. Especially in the era of not having a wiki full of information about the world in the game, and also having not played the game like 16 times and know where everything is. But it's sort of a neat feature. You know, if you were playing this on the Xbox, original Xbox in 2002, and you didn't have your like Prima strategy guide or something, and you wanted to know where enchanted items were, then you could use that spell. But I feel like we have no money and no Magicka to cast it. Anyway, so we've made it to Caldera. I think I'm going to cut this video off here. I'm trying to remember to use a timer next time I make these videos, but yeah, this nice Imperial town. I feel like our view distance, to get back to this modding discussion, our view distance is pretty good. We can kind of see most of the town, but we can't really see too far. And that's kind of nice. The game world starts to look very small if you can see too far in some ways. But yeah, the game's looking pretty nice. I'm liking these textures. And I'm liking the frame rate, so hopefully that will continue to it will continue to behave well, and we won't have too many glitches, and I won't encounter too many more problems with mods. But you know, that's just the nature of playing Morrowind in 2020. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And share and all that happy shit if you enjoy this.
Keep moving.
And see you next time. Ciao.